Hello and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Videomail for the week of October 8th, 2012. Welcome to the site to the new members, and welcome back to the site to all you old members. Don't forget, the Ask Videomail is your chance. It's also your trance. Your weekly trance here on KennyRoy.com. No, to get your question in character animation or performance answered in a video just like this one, but I need your question if I'm going to answer it. Please send your questions to webmaster@KennyRoy.com. I go through all the questions and I answer the ones that I think will help the most people. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and it's the best way to get the most out of your subscription. There, got through all of it. There will be some new members here that this is their first video mail that they've seen. If you are a trial membership member, go ahead and send in an Ask Video Mail question. No reason that you can't. It's definitely the best way to get the most out of the site. So take advantage of it. Go ahead, send the question in. I'd love to hear from some of the new members. If you're an old member and you're wondering why there are new members, it's because there is a lifetime membership giveaway going on right now. Anyone who signs up in the month of October for the free trial is automatically entered to get a lifetime membership here on KennyRoy.com. And I added something special for all of you old school, all you oldie moldies here that are on the site. If you refer the member that wins the lifetime membership, you win a lifetime membership as well. But you gotta refer people. It's very easy. All you do is tell them your username, have them type it in exactly on the form where it asks who is your refer, and if your username is in there, it automatically goes in as well. So refer a lot of friends, get a lot of horses in the race, and maybe you will win too. So good luck, and welcome to all you people here on KennyRoy.com. So I really want to see some more questions. I love to get Maya files as well. You can send in your Maya file. Hey, if you're just you get stuck and you can't figure something out, send it in. Why not? It's a great way to get more out of the site. Okay, I'm going to jump into this question. I got this one a long time ago, but I only dug it up right now because it kind of goes hand in hand with the video mail that I posted last week about copying keys, and I think you'll like it, so take a look. Okay, there's not really a workflow for preventing file crash. You just have to be kind of cognizant of all the issues that Maya has when it's working with files. The first is that if you are working with a rig, let's say, for instance, that is really buggy or has a lot of problems associated with it, it's probably a good idea for you to use .ma, Maya ASCII file format. That is because you can open them up in a text editor, and a skilled Maya user might be able to fix your scene by removing or commenting out some of the code that is making your file crash. It's not extremely difficult to do, but it does require you know what you're doing, you know what you're looking for. So I don't recommend you just go around and start deleting stuff willy-nilly if your file starts crashing. But I would say that probably at my studio we save as Maya ASCII up until the point we're sure that the rig is stable, that the scenes are working correctly, that they're opening on all machines, that kind of thing, and then we start saving as binary to save on file space. So that might be the first thing you can do. Also, incremental save is really good. I turned down the number of incremental saves to 5 so that we don't have so many incremental saves taking up, again, hard drive space, which is kind of precious. But incremental save won't help you if you get to a scene, a version of your scene rather, where it's getting out of control. One thing that this animator came across that makes a lot of sense is that the file size got a lot bigger between versions. Now, I haven't been able to open yet the file that this animator sent me, but I can tell you how to check and see if the file will eventually load. Okay, so we'll do that in 1 second. But keep an eye as you're saving your file, and what's great about Maya is when you save your file, it'll show you how large the file is. and as you're versioning up, and I do recommend you start adding version numbers to the end of your files. You can pay attention and see how fast the file size is growing. You shouldn't really have too much being added at a non-linear pace to your scene if you're working correctly. Things that will add a lot of complexity to your scene is if you add anything other than animation data to the curves or the channels in your graph editor. Okay, so what would that be? If you start adding pieces of geometry like set pieces, if you start constraining props and geometry to the model that you created within the scene, it can get a little tricky. If you disconnect some of your character's attributes, that can get a little tricky as well. So I'm just going to really quick, it's a little technical, but I think it's worthwhile just to show you a little bit behind the scenes of what goes on with Maya. So let's take a look at a scene here. So here we have, let me actually open up the original scene. I was just testing something out real quick. You should always test your rigs. Make sure that animation copies nicely between your rigs in your rig file from one to another. Okay, and here we have last month's lecture file. Okay, it's a character and he's doing his thing, and he's got animation on almost all his controls. And so what you remember from the last week's lecture is that the copy keys actually copies them to the clipboard. So I'm just going to set a key on the anim control, the master control here, just so that it has a key on it, and go keys. One more time, copy keys. I'll show you what we need to do, reset tool. Below, and then turn on driven channels and make sure time range is all copy. All right, and now that's in the clipboard. We're just going to hold on to that for a second, okay? All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm now going to open up the file that the animator sent me. All right, and it's in standby. It is in media as all the way down here. Man, look at all these folders. 2010, 11/15, November 15th, 2010. Almost 2 years now. So here it is, work in progress 7 handshake. Now the first thing you can do is on referencing, change your load settings to load top level references only. That's just in case you have nested references, and turn on selective preload. Okay, so we're not going to have any trouble with nested references causing any problems, and we're going to turn on selective preload. And now what this does is it makes it so that you're only loading the references that you want to have in the scene. Okay, so let me show you how this works. We're going to have to browse and find that that rig real quick before it'll let us select and preload whichever one we want. Here it is. Okay, and now it's going to say, okay, which ones do you want to load? All right, so I'm going to load none of them and hit open, and then take a look at this scene. All right. And what's interesting is there's pretty much nothing in this scene. We have a cube, and that's it. It doesn't even have animation data on it, okay, at all. So if I just real quick go to optimize scene size, and I have everything checked on optimize scene size, and then try to load one reference at a time, we might be able to get this scene open again. Okay, so I just click on that little check mark and see, and if I watch down here, all right, it loaded the whole thing. So here we have the Morpheus. Here he is, he's loaded, and not much is happening. Maybe his animation is happening. Okay, so it's just a few poses. Now I'm a little worried that I'm not going to be able to load both references right now. So real quick, I'm actually going to export his animation. Okay, so I'm going to export selection. Type is going to be anim. Okay, plugin's not loaded. You load it by going to Settings, Preferences, then going to Plugin Manager, and then turning on Anim Import Export. Okay, like that. And I'm going to set a key on that master controller one more time as well, just so that his position in world space is saved. Go to Export Selection, go down to Anim Export, and then it looks like the copy keys. Below, turn on control points and shapes and all, and export selection, and it's going to save it as a .anim file. So I'm going to call this character 1. Why not, right? And if I hit enter, it'll save it. And there's actually only 25 channels or curves on this entire character. Okay, so that's not very much. All right. Now I'm going to try, and I'm just going to show you one thing real quick. If you click on a character that a reference that's loaded, and you go to List Reference Edits, it shows you all the things that you've ever done to this character. Connect attribute, set attribute, and what that does is actually connect attribute creates an animation curve for all of the controls that you've moved. All right. So if you ever see any failed set attribute right here, okay, or any failed connect attribute, or any disconnect attribute, you can select them like this and then click on this button that says remove selected edits. Now you don't want to do this to, you know, the original file and then save it. That would be bad. But what this does is it removes any changes you've made to the reference that might be destructive. Okay, so failed set attribute, failed disconnect attribute, and or failed connect attribute, and then any disconnect attribute. You pretty much don't. Wow. So I heard what sounded like a pretty near fatal car crash outside. Excuse me. You probably don't need to be disconnecting attributes. That's like, for instance, if you're adding a new texture to your character. Do that last once your animation is done, and it's not going to screw up your scene, okay? So that's what, you know, those are called reference edits, and those might fix your scene. So I've now exported this guy's animation. I'm actually going to remove him, not remove him actually, just uncheck him, unload him, and see if this other guy is who's screwing up the scene. Let's see here, reference edits. Yeah, so if you select him, let's see, he's got a lot more edits on him. And it looks like we have proxy, geo, skin cluster weights. Yeah, so this looks like what happened, is there's a lot of skin cluster like reweighting that has been done. And let's see if there's any faileds. Let's see here, stand by. Connect attribute, no, that looks good. And set attribute. So what I'm going to do is, because I have tried to load this scene a lot and it just doesn't work, I'm actually going to remove the dynamic driven, hands, facial rig. I'm going to remove all of these skin cluster weights. Just by scanning down, matrix, skin cluster, yep, don't need that, yep, don't need that, and there's a lot. Skin cluster weight, lock weight, yep, I don't need the lock weight. So all this stuff, really don't need it. If this person is animating with the normal controls, there's really no reason for all those things to be up there. Okay, so I'm just going to hit remove selected edits, and it'll take a while because it has to go through and actually kind of like redo all the stuff that's attached to that character right now. And sometimes it doesn't actually do all of it. You have to kind of look through again and make sure that it worked. Arm twist, these look like animation curves. Okay, let's try loading it. It might crash. Okay, there it is. Cool. So it looks like it's okay. And here we have him doing his performance. Looks great. Okay. Now, just so that we're safe, what I would do is I would again set a key on this master controller, export selection, below, anim export, all that's still saved, and we're going to call this character 2 anim. All right, now just for a test, we're going to see if this is not loading both characters. But if it is, I'm going to save this and I'm going to send it back to that animator that sent it to me, and hopefully he hasn't had to go back too far and work on this too long. Okay. Okay. Cool. Looks like it's all working. Okay. Yeah, looks like it's all working great. So I'm just going to save this, and this is a .ma, so I'm going to call this handshake fixed or cleaned or whatever. And now what you can do, if you have those animation files, what you can do is you can load in 2 clean references, and you can make it so that the animation file is imported onto the root of your 2 clean references. And then when that's done, basically you're in great shape, because lo and behold, you have your animation, you have references that you know have no weird edits done to them, and you can just start animating from there. So a lot of times there's not a specific workflow you can follow to make it so a scene doesn't crash, but you can normally get back a scene if it's not completely truncated. All right, so try that preload, look at those reference edits, and see if you can make the changes you need. Now, the one last thing that you can check is if you open up your task manager, if you're working on Windows, and you go to processes and look at Maya. Look at if Maya's memory is moving up and down. 9 times out of 10, if it's still moving, it means that it's trying to load it. Okay, and it might take 10 minutes, it might take 10 hours, but 9 times out of 10, the scene will actually load if Maya is still loading memory. If it doesn't, that's a bummer. But if you can be patient or leave your computer on all night, normally the scene will load, and then you should really quickly export the animation and just load new references. Now remember, the animation on below that animation curve is not going to copy all that skin cluster. I'm not sure what this animator did, why they were messing with the skin weights, but there you go. Okay, so that was a great question. I'd love more like that, and I love getting Maya files as well. It was really nice to be able to open this up and take a look. So send your questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I look forward to reading them. Refer friends. Right now is the time to do it. They get a chance to win a lifetime membership for signing up in October, and if you referred them, so do you. So have a great time playing the game, and good luck, and as always, rock on.